Making sure my hair is all pretty for the camera. Oh, what up, traders? What up, investors? Ken here from Dyslexic Investor, and thank you so very much for coming out for another fantastic live stream. We're gonna be again wonderful Sunday evening. Got the Bulls and the Bears going at it. Mostly the Bulls are winning. Currently looking at the Nasdaq and the S&P 500. And of course, the Bears are running away from the VIX right now, aka the fear gauge. So a lot of things we're going to be looking at here. A lot of stocks had a pretty tremendous pullback as well, really consolidating here, kind of coming back down to the 21 to 34 EMA. On a lot of charts, again, if you're looking here directly, just jumping right into it, looking here on the NASDAQ, on those 2 days, Thursday and Friday, testing that 21 EMA on the daily side, and just continue to, that's definitely looking for something to, Kenny, Ken, don't do any Fibonacci numbers tonight, only call out calls and put plays on stock symbols. Everyone had left like I'm not gonna gig your DMC 8282. So don't do any Fibonacci numbers. Basically, just don't do anything that I normally do. With the 21 EMA coming down here to that level again, bouncing off it twice in a given day, coming into today having the potential stimulus, some kind of talks coming in Monday, of course, and now a lot of the first stages of the vaccines are being shipped and being processed throughout the country, starting with, I think, the high tier, which is usually I believe the frontline workers with the people who are very high risk in hospitals and nursing homes. And then it goes down to people with elderly people living at home, elderly folks, and they have some kind of condition with diabetes or whatsoever. They're going to be potentially getting the next stages. There's literally stages like A1, A2, B1, B, like it goes down to pretty great detail on what and who would be getting the vaccines initially first. Looks like people are asking about Netflix versus Disney, says Thunder. I'm more of a Disney person, to be quite honest, because they have the Star Wars franchise. But anyways, let's just go ahead and just jump into it. Disney, of course, had this absolutely canon bat out of hell scenario coming out to that 173 range, was a Fibonacci number we talked about, really breaking past that and hitting the 180 level. The next overall target really for Disney is 200 if that trend wants to continue, but this is a very large deviation move here. So again, you can see that here on the ATR. It's highlighted red here on the top ribbon here. That's highlighting, hey, we had a very out of the ordinary move. Again, that was had with that potentially movement going higher there. Yeah, the Georgia runoff election is when? Is that the 14th? I always get the dates. Is the Georgia runoff election the 14th, or is it coming, or is it the beginning of next year? I always get the two mixed up. But with Disney, I love it. I have owned this super long term, so it's just another fantastic thing. Disney shooting star, bearish. Well, I don't know about bearish, but it's a very large move higher. It really shot the bears in the face, if that's in my opinion. But looking for this can come back to the 150 range, honestly. But there's a lot of good news baked into this, and we can definitely see that going up there as well. I know, Thunder, you asked about Netflix as well. So Netflix, this one's kind of been a choppy one here, kind of just not really performing with the relative group. It's trying to get out here. It has a lot of strong support around that 486 to 485 Thunder. But then it has some potential issues that you saw basically come up here in the last couple weeks to that 516, 517 level and failed once, failed twice, potentially trying to spool back up to test that 517 range again, which is also the 50 percentile move from its previous swing high to low, with that target potentially trying to break above that 517 to test the 530, which is a very strong Fibonacci level there. But then we're seeing some onward downside support coming into that 144 EMA here around that 147 to around 475 to like the 485, that $10 range we're kind of seeing there, kind of bounce around there. With that, that's basically my view on Netflix. It's really just kind of bouncing in ranges. It needs to break above that 517 range, or it needs to break below here to kind of see on how this continues to go higher from there. Kelly D, what's up, my friend Ken? What's your thoughts on CVX? CVX, is that a railroad? Oh, Chevron. Okay, yeah. Chevron, like a lot of this, that's one of the better oil stocks, I believe. It didn't cut their dividend. Yeah, it doesn't. I'm looking at the dividend right here. They didn't cut it. It is breaking above its 200 EMA, which is a kind of a good upward momentum trend here. But we need to kind of start seeing this above that 88 to 87 level, kind of really continue. And again, we need to really see the futures move for this as well. So the future symbol is, I think, /CL, which crude oil here. And it's up just a hair here as well, which is kind of continue going higher. So I'm actually a fan of SLB, which is Schlumberger. This is the oil refinery. This is kind of came up to a Fibonacci level around $23. If this can kind of bake here, kind of build a base here, potentially get a nice little run up to 26. Again, it's also above its 200 EMA on the daily chart, and the 21 and 34 are kind of pointing an upward projection. DBX, is that Dropbox or Box? I always get those two mixed up as well. I mix a lot of things up. Yeah, it's Dropbox. Holy moly guacamole. Nice little run there. Like, yeah, didn't see that one. Even with a missed earnings here, like nice little consolidation pattern here, boosting higher. Really looking for some potential overall resistance here kind of coming up. We've seen this 24, 23-ish level before. Looking for some potential overhead resistance around 22.77, but that is a very large move and nearly 6% on Friday to kind of see this kind of chop around. Like we've seen this pattern before with huge run-ups and then kind of coming back down, but it's still in chop mode for me, to be quite honest, because again, it has had these very choppy moments. Just really looking at the weekly side, has had these huge run-ups, but then comes right back down. Not saying it this time's different or this time is the same. Just have to be very well aware and kind of keeping it on a short leash. Brain Capital, we kind of just talked. I just made a video about PLTR if you want to check that out. Really going into depth about what I think about PLTR. How bad will space tank on Monday? Mr. Bear is hungry for Mr. Bear. And are you talking about in our the chat group? Space, again, how hard can it crash? Again, it had failure on its launch. Potentially the first level support's around $29, but if it really wants to come down lower, we're going to be looking for between $27.30 to around $25.78. That's going to be the first stronger level of support, but then it can come all the way down to $21 to the downside there. But it has hit the overall resistance again at, not again, but it's that next level of Fibonacci retracement at 35.34. Let's see here. Johnny, no, we haven't done the SPY. We can look at SPY yet. Let's look at SPY. Of course, oops, why isn't it typing? As of right now, we are having the S&P 500 up nearly 0.5% or 18 points. With the SPY, we had a very nice run up the last couple weeks. We hit that Fibonacci level at 371.17, basically within like, was that 12 cents from all-time high, and now kind of bouncing off of it. We didn't have the momentum to really break through of it. I think as long as we stay above these parabolic SAR dots, even the 21 EMA, so around 362, we can get that next potential run up to test and trying to break through that level of 371 to the upside. If we don't, and we start breaking the parabolic SAR dots and start closing below 362, we could see some substantially levels around 357 to potentially even 352 for SPY, my friend. JN122290 says wants to look at Pfizer, PFE. PFE, of course, this is going to be a huge component with the virus and the vaccine of the virus. So with this being said, we've had somewhat of a run up here with between the 5 and 8 moving averages, but potentially breaking above that 4250 and actually closing above it if we get some fantastic news and everything is going well with the logistics of all these problems. But if it doesn't, we're going to be potentially looking for some support around $40 to $39.37 there. Can we get a standing ovation for a clap on M? Yeah. I got to give it to Alpaca if he's in here. I got to give him kudos for this one. This is a absolutely insane run in this stock. It just really just came out of not out of nowhere. I wasn't able to trade it, but now this is a really beautiful looking stock. Initially looking for the next target, potentially around 515 to the upside there. Downside support's really going to be coming around 260 to even 217. 215 to the downside there. The GA runoff is for the 5th. Okay, 4th or 5th, yeah. Because I have jury duty on the 4th. I just got that letter in the mail. I got to do jury duty on the 4th. GHIV. This is a SPAC, right? I forget what this one's doing here. This is a beautiful, like, even though it's a SPAC, it has kind of made a kind of cup and handle play here and really kind of bursting higher. Initially looking for $12 to $13 to the upside. It's very hard to kind of keep these SPACs somewhat on a level of targets because it's gonna come down to who or what they're writing to the a blank check to and things like that. Any advice on Snow? Snow has been a rocket ship here, even after its quarter, really just taking off with 2 large, enormous candles, kind of coming down to that 348 to 350 range, which is a key Fibonacci level and price target there. But if this breaks below here, we're going to be looking for some prices around 320 to 319, my friend. If this holds, then we can potentially build a base and get the 21 to 34 and larger dated moving averages to kind of catch up. We can potentially try and break above that 387 to get some higher price targets going there, my friend. That's for Susan Lynn. Roland one says SAIC. That sounds so familiar. This is a science application. This is like a government defense company. Am I right? Wow, that's a beautiful looking chart, dude. Yeah, that's a nice looking one. That's a definitely nice little move there. I always keep my pen and paper on hand just in case I want to take some notes. Yeah, let me look on the weekly side on this one. Yeah, that's this thing has been very choppy and breaking to all-time highs. First time breaking above 100, always a good sign. Let's look at some fibs here real fast. This trend wants to continue. It isn't a pretty aggressive trend because it's been holding that 5 and 8 moving averages. And this continue to grind higher here. We're looking for potentially it's hitting that Fibonacci number around 150. Again, it's its all-time high, so that's where it's bringing us the start of the fib number. But from the low of 45, the next target is initially $115 to the upside. You've dropped 150 bucks, $1,500 on the gamblers. She's smart. I agree. But DMC 8282. Yeah, don't be gambling. Thoughts on Dell? Feel like it's about to rip or pop to the upside. Yes, I've owned Dell a little bit here. It's been hitting this level here around $70 multiple times. Finally getting some consolidation and breaking through this level here. Initially looking for, it doesn't have a squeeze on my charts, but it does look like it wants to potentially slowly grind higher to that $82 level with some initial support again around that $70 range for some support, which has seen a lot of consolidation there. It's a rush to be trading those. Look at Riot pre-market. Yeah, isn't Riot a lot more in tune to like look at Bitcoin right now? Nice huge gap up, nearly up 8% today, potentially going to be testing that level above 20,000, I think, in a very short period of time. Samir, what's up, my friend? Can we check uh what's that here? Can we check out BA? BA, yeah. I like BA. It's kind of again with the overall market that was kind of giving back some gains. Like the later part of last week, it was kind of been holding above that 225-ish range to potentially test again that consolidation pattern we like to see. Really shake out some hands and get that momentum going, potentially back up to that 267, which is going to be the next initial target for the stock, and some downside support again, that 225 down to around 215 there. Let's see here. Thoughts on FTNT and BBY? FTNT. Oops. Of course, it didn't right. FTNT. All right, let's try this for a fifth time. FTNT. There we go. Fortnite. This is like a security firm, right? If I remember correctly. Very choppy pattern here. You can kind of see this swing down, chop, swing down, chop, swing up, chop, swing down. It's very unique kind of pattern here, and really looking for, if it wants to get higher, it needs to break above 132 to 133, and then downside support is initially kind of coming around 115. So if it kind of stays within those parameters, is basically what we need to be looking at for this particular one. It's going to be kind of ping pong around like we saw with this one here. Kind of had a box on initially here where we're just kind of ping ponging around. And then BBY, is that Best Buy? Yeah, Best Buy. Ooh, wow, I didn't see this one. Yikers, what happened there? Is it because of their earnings or their guidance? What happened there? Wow. Initially, a very aggressive sell-off here because you can see the 5 and 8 cross to the 21 EMA, and the 5 and 8 are still aggressively pointing downwards to the ground here. Is definitely looking for initial support around the 200 EMA, which is going to be around $99 to $100, which is where it kind of closed at. But we're not going to be going out here and just going full YOLO and buying this Monday. That we can see this potentially maybe bounce here, but I would rather see it a little bit consolidate here before we start dumping in some cash in there. DMC 8282, hey, Kent Airbean got me stopped out and still long on Dash. Well, yeah, I didn't touch those with a 10-foot pole. There was just too crazy movement, but I know that's your kind of cup of tea. Show, will Tesla go to S&P 500 affect the market? Kelly, I don't know. Like, will it affect the market in what sense? Like, the funds have to kind of buy into it, even at whatever prices. But with this kind of movement that we've seen aggressively in the last couple days with Tesla, with really aggressive movement going up and down, left and right, doing loop-de-loops, initially looking for some consolidation here. As long as it stays above that 21 EMA on my charts, the trend is still upwards. It's been shaking out a lot of people, and I've been getting a lot of emails and notifications and Discord on people asking how to trade Tesla. Like it was a very violent week. Like if you look here in the charts, like this really doesn't even do it justice. It dropped from basically that 650 all the way down to nearly below 600. Then pre-market, it just went straight back up to around 626, then kind of slowly sold off into the weekend a little bit here. So nothing to really write home about. It's not going to be very difficult to kind of gauge on what everyone's participating in the market here. But the overall trend, what I'm looking at is as long as it stays above that yellow line, I'm still a very happy camper with Tesla. Ariel, what's up? What's up? I want to short Twitter. Twitter. I know you and I are not the world's largest fan of this. You could short this. The only thing is has had a stop out at this level before, but that was due to an earnings miss at that 52.84 level. I know that you are very much attuned to aggressive plays. That is, again, this would be within your wheelhouse 100%. But I would have to keep it on a very short leash due to the fact of things can run fairly fast for whatever reason, especially with Twitter, which I find it strange that Facebook is being somewhat aggressively being attacked by the U.S. government, and Twitter hasn't really been touched for whatever reason. But anyways, that's my opinion on that one. Definitely 52.84 is going to be a level that we've seen here, kind of a bounce off before, but again, that was due to an earnings miss. If that continues to grind higher, we can see some even higher targets to around $61 there, Ariel. The waste management, he says, WM. Looking at that one, waste management. Yeah, it kind of sold off as well, which is strange. Again, this has been a long-term hold for me as well. We're seeing the 5 and 8 cross through the 21 EMA and kind of grind lower here. We've seen this pattern before. We're looking at initial support around 112 to 110. Since it's a longer-term holding, this is just a slightly better opportunity for me to add into some core holdings here around that 110 level if we get some substantial kind of bounce from there. Eddie C, how you doing, my friend? Thank you. BBWay got downgraded by Goldman Sachs. Oh, okay. Josh, is nice to see another dyslexic investor. Yep, there's a lot of us there. What's up? Any thoughts on IVA getting replaced by Tesla? Good time to buy puts, major support resistant levels. What's up? Any thoughts on AIV? Never heard of that one. Maybe. Am I thinking of the same thing here? Steven, I don't understand this. Is a good time for puts or major support resistance? Oh, okay. So AIV is getting pulled out of SB. Okay, I'm sorry. I wasn't following. I was trying to think if this was like another EV company. Okay, that makes 100% sense now. With that movement, yeah, it's kind of making a flag pattern here, as you can see here. Potentially, again, if it does break, some key levels, if it breaks, is around 39-ish to around 38.60. If that breaks, that can get a substantial down move because it just did a very strange split here, a 1 2 1 2 3 8 2 1, which that's very weird. That's very strange. I've never seen that before with like a decimal point. So this is just this. I don't honestly want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. Eddie, any ideas on Disney? Yeah, Disney, as long as it stays above that 173 and builds a base at that level, we can see some higher prices come in. You have a limit price to buy Tesla at 545. What does that sit at? Yeah, that's kind of right in between the 21 to 34 EMA. That makes sense. Yeah, the feds are definitely going all over Facebook, and they're not even like, I haven't heard anything about Google or anything about Twitter. Can you check out Snow, Sir Jamie? Yeah, we did Snow. Snow is definitely a absolutely insane stock that has, I don't know how it rebounded this aggressively from its earnings, basically running from 290 all the way up to 286, nearly 100 points in 2 days here. With that, again, potential resistance at 287, kind of coming down to another fib level around 348. If we can see that kind of consolidate and build there, I think that we could see some consolidation and try to higher again. If we don't, some lower prices going to be around 319. Net is still might be a good long-term play. What is net? Net. I did something with net this week. Yeah, yeah. Net's just been grinding higher here, even though some of the other like cloud companies and security companies were kind of pulling back, and mostly the tech stuff. This thing doesn't really care. It's been holding that 5 and 8 moving average just to continue grind higher, potentially trying to break above that 85-ish level to go higher places. We haven't looked at JD yet, Christopher. Let's look at JD. JD, of course, this one's looking a little bit choppy for me, honestly, Christopher. You see the 5 and 8 moving averages cross through the 21 EMA. It hasn't broken. It hasn't broken the $80 range. It kind of bounced off of it, but then it also failed here, hitting that 21 EMA. So around 84 at 54, it hit that, but failed here. If it needs to start seeing the 5 and 8 start curling back up into those levels to potentially see some higher prices, really testing above 86. But if we get some consolidation patterns here, could be kind of building a base between 83 to $80 to kind of get that momentum to be built up from there. Ariel says, how do they plan on making any money? They gained one user last earnings. That's why the government doesn't bother them, because they don't make any. That is probably the best example of why. No one cares, right? No one uses it. Oh, Ariel, always cracking me up. That's funny. Thank you for making me laugh. GME. Yeah, GameStop. Strong pullback, miss on earnings. A lot of folks, I know within the Discord, was fairly long this. I didn't want to touch it because it was just a little bit too much of not a meme or like a Wall Street Bets kind of play. It just really wasn't my cup of tea here, especially playing it into earnings that aggressively. But we're seeing that kind of consolidation pattern kind of come in, bouncing off the 50-day here and the 50% retracement from the previous move here around 1311, and potentially see this kind of trade sideways. If the 5 and 8 moving average starts crossing aggressively through the 21 EMA, we could see some potential further downside to around that 1166 level at those prices there. What's your take on shorting ZM? Zoom has just been. I've been wanting to short Zoom, but it's just not. I'm just not a good. I don't short things well, honestly. I don't have the cojones or the balls to do it, honestly. With this scan, we kind of highlighted it here a little bit. With these movements and these lines here, it's just been holding this steady line here around that. It's been getting below that line, but it hasn't been really breaking it. It just kind of gets that momentum and gets right back above it. The overall trend is still kind of consolidating here, but if we start getting closer to this correction phase, which I call it potentially the beginning of the end of December into early 2021, we could potentially see, again, depending on how people are viewing or the virus or what work from home status and things that could be going, I think that we could get some further consolidation to the downside. Initially looking for 360 level if it does want to correct to the downside, and then higher prices. It really needs to get a back above 445 to the upside there. Sir Jamie says GMI. Yes. Ooh. This thing came out of nowhere too. This thing has just been so aggressive, like just not giving a you know what here. Um, Even with its earnings, missed it, didn't show whatever, just came out like a bat out of hell and just really just ripped higher from like $13 to $40 in like a week and a half, then coming back down, hitting that 21 EMA, not giving a rat's you know what again, coming back up, hitting that $40 range, which is again a Fibonacci number that we've seen before. Kind of need to break through of it. Really looking for this potentially to break through because the parabolic SAR dots have switched to the downside, which is good. So the dots are below the ticks now, potentially looking for $50 with this one if the overall trend wants to continue taking us higher. Orlando says CCL, PLTR, and DraftKings. Since we've done PLTR quite a bit already, we'll just go right to Carnival Cruise Line. This thing, all the cruise lines have kind of got a huge bump up, but now it's kind of giving back a little bit. With the overall vaccine news and things rolling out, this thing potentially could kind of hit a bounce level around $20.50 coming in tomorrow, and even rip higher to stay above $21.94 and really potentially test in the nearsighted term around 25. D King. This is DraftKings. Same kind of pattern here. This thing just kind of been perusing and just kind of bouncing around here. I think that we've been trading between that $50 and $47 range for a little bit here, and really just kind of waiting for the market or the ticks and the price to tell us which direction it wants to go. If it starts breaking above 50.83, we can be potentially looking for $53.60 to $55. Then into the downside, breaking below 47.20. We're going to be basically looking for around 42.60 potentially for that initial support there. DMC 8282, are you saying that you're comparing me to your 87-year-old grandfather? I take that as a very highly compliment. Thank you, my sir friend. Can we do BA and GME, Mo? Mo, we did BA. BA has been holding above that 225 for a little bit. I want to have that continue to hold that level to potentially have that trend break higher to that 250 to 265. But if it starts breaking below those levels, we're going to be definitely looking for some targets around that 215 for some support after that. And GME we just did as well. That thing has kind of been holding in a very choppy market. I kind of want to be very careful with that one. Now can someone see my real promise that it's totally a bankrupt company? I don't know the balance sheets of GME, honestly. I just look at the stock. Exactly. 50% it could break. You're really just sitting on your hands waiting to see what happens for Zoom. Adam Cook is asking for J&J vaccine. So if anyone who's a subscriber or a member within the overall my YouTube stuff or Patreon page has known that I made a YOLO play in J&J, a very, very small YOLO play with J&J, potentially looking to test that 157 range. Again, tomorrow is Monday, and Monday is known as Vaccine News Monday, and we can potentially get J&J coming out. They're like, hey, guess what? We're able to ship 50 million files or 50 million cases or whatever to the United States and the world. So but that's what I'm potentially looking for. Again, I'm not playing it with anything else than that, really. It's very small call options that I have out there. Hmm. DMC 8282 thinks GME is a day trading stock. It could be, yeah. She gel. Can you look at Jets? Yeah, I like Jets, so I own Jets. Full disclosure. Again, this is a really. I think I get criticized for it all the time on just owning the overall airline space, and people are like, "Well, what you should just own Southwest because it's the best run one." I'm like, whatever. Like, I don't. Again, I'm not a fan of balance sheets. I don't read the um, F10 filings and things like that. I look at the charts, look at price, look at patterns, and things like that. That's how it really dictates my trading philosophy and how I do things. With that being said, we're looking here potentially somewhat of a rejection around that 24, 23 level and kind of coming back down to around potentially hitting off that 22. But with how everything's are going with the vaccine news and all this other stuff, we could be get a potential bounce higher to potentially break above that 24, 23 level. Again, initial support to the downside is going to be the 21 EMA kind of coming around that 21.88, the high 21s there for some initial support to the downside. Orlando, you're welcome. Thoughts on OSTK and Bitcoin trending up? Earl G, yeah, I think Bitcoin can hit 20,000 easily, even with this trend that we're seeing here, nearly up 7.5% as of right now. Overstock, potentially we can be setting up here for a double bottom here, some initial support coming around 52, 56. But this trend has just been very choppy and just not really leading us in any positive direction if you're trying to go long it, with initial support again coming around that 200 EMA here, and potentially playing that. But it's had a lot of overhead resistance in the short term around 67.38 to the upside. So those are some key levels there. Sir Jamie says, what about Mickey D's, the Golden Arches? Which I haven't been there forever. This one as well has really been selling off here since they've introduced the McRib back nationwide. Coming into the 200 EMA, which is again usually a very strong support for a lot of stocks, no matter what they are. But we need to start seeing the moving averages, the 5 and 8, stop aggressively pointing downwards to the ground and potentially start curling here sideways and really trying to stay potentially above that 206 to 205. If that really breaks, we're going to be looking for around 200 for Mickey D's. For the upside, we really started seeing it consolidate and really to start base building here and potentially get back up to that 210 to 215 range. V says AMD, please, and thank you for using your manners. I appreciate that. AMD is still one of my favorite stocks ever. Been in this for quite some time, just been trading it and investing in it. It's been very, very choppy, just like the overall market that we saw last week had a pretty large aggressive downwards, then is kind of coming back, kind of strong recoveries. Initially looking for some support to the short term around $88 to $89, and that trend to really continue, and potentially try to break above that 94 range. We're really seeing this potentially kind of been ping-ponging around that 94 to $90 level and just kind of bounce around here until we get a good news, a break of whatever reasons to the upside. For my long dated target, my target still above 106 to 110 is my target for AMD in the long run. Hello, Ken. Have you reviewed Tesla today? Yes, we have done Tesla. Tesla's has been very choppy here. I'll review it here in a second. Just once we get a couple of these other ones out of the way. Are you taking the vaccine? I think I kind of probably, yeah. I'm way far down the list. I'm not a high risk for anything, honestly. So we'll see. J&J needs to stick to Band-Aids and baby oil. David S. I think yeah, that's the argument. A lot of people are saying that they're going to go bankrupt because for whatever reason. Again, I don't know anything about their finances. I have no idea what their debt load is, if they have debt or whatsoever. Yeah, losing money is never fun, Jordan. I definitely agree. I also have been trading AAL a lot, just because it's just been a very aggressive moving stock without a doubt. AAL has been just really just kind of bouncing around here really aggressively. Again, it's such a easy stock to get in and out of. It's just very liquid. Said day yesterday I was getting my hair cut and a pilot for AL got laid off. I wanted to give him 200 bucks that I made off the day trade. But that would have been very nice, right? Um, I have owned MCD at 42 and sold it at 72 in 19. I've worked there. I've worked there for 2 years. AMD is could be a great day trading stock. I agree. Um, Jarvis is ACN. This is an interesting chart. Really looking for this one kind of coming on to that 21 EMA here. The only thing is kind of somewhat skeptical here is we're seeing it come into earnings. If you're anything with familiar with earnings, I don't like to trade into earnings, especially with options. But the overall setup is looking somewhat nice, kind of pulling back, but not breaking below the 21 EMA here, and really seeing this potentially kind of trade sideways, and really just kind of just potentially run into earnings because again with earnings last time it gapped down pretty aggressively. um yeah, yeah, that's gonna, yeah, I don't want to play earnings on this one. This is too much of a coin flip without a doubt with most earnings are. Would probably, if I wanted to play this, maybe buy very little of it, maybe anywhere from 10 to 15% of my overall position, and see how earnings goes, and maybe buy at some lower prices, or if it runs up at some targets there. But this is too much of a coin flip for me, my friend. Can AMD grabs up pre-market and then drops at open? A lot of stocks do that though. Just look at a lot of stocks that do that. They gap up early in the market, and then they get caught flat-footed once the bell rings. Of course, this is Trip Red Light Holland. I don't know what that means, but you're talking about Trip Advisor. Yeah. With this one again, very much a virus play here, kind of coming back into the swing of things again. Vaccine, fantastic news, kind of coming into where it was trading well before all this fun stuff was going down. Um, Looking for some potential again. It looks like it wasn't doing too shabby even before the pandemic because it was, again, it hit a high at 65 way back when in like 18, and it's just been trading lower and lower ever since then, and now kind of a bottom building here, potentially base building here, maybe having some issues really getting past that $30 to $31 level with Trip there. Any thoughts of PFA, please? Says Frank White. Oops. With PFE, yeah. So Pfizer, we're really looking for again any kind of good news and run up here. We're going to be potentially breaking above that 42.50 and potentially testing 46.47 if that really wants to get that momentum and upside projections going. Downside support is going to be coming in basically initially strong at $40. AL gets a lot of VWAP bounces. Yeah, what time frame? Like again, not a day trader. Don't really trade like 5 or 10 minute charts. So that's when really VWAP is the best. makes you feel alive to lose money. I can kind of understand that, but you don't want to continuously lose money every single day and then you won't have anything left. GameStop will now share in the lifetime digital sales revenue, including for all the full-time downloads, DLC, subscription plans for Xbox consoles sold through their stores. Interesting. I would like to know how they track that. BDAU has an overbought RSI on the 3-day, on day and 3-hour chart. Can you please see it tomorrow run? Let's see. Yeah, I can see it kind of hitting a level around $164, which is a key level on the Fibonacci tree. That's basically target one that we're looking for price targets. If it wants to break above that and continue going higher, and looking for basically 187 to be the next overall target to the upside. Downside support's really going to be coming in around 147, where we saw that breakout and the previous breakdown before, which is, again, it's also its previous high way back when before the pandemic as well. So 147 is going to be very strong support to the downside. If it wants to run, it needs to break above 164, 165 to really see that next level going higher. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, high levels on the volumes on oscillator and the level here. I kind of want to look at it at this chart here. So on the 4-hour side here, yeah, the 4-hour side still showing a very strong trend on the upward band. But again, this is Friday's data, so we need to see on how it comes in on Monday without a doubt. The donutness is RPRX. Their lockup period is up on Monday. Sounds familiar, but I never. Is this Royalty Pharmacy? Huh. Yeah, I don't know about this one. This has been a very, 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 very choppy looking stock here. It's having a lot of issues trying to get above its 200 EMA here, which is basically around that $42 to $43 range. If we have a lockup coming up, like you're saying, my friend, I have no idea. I don't know the stock. I haven't looked at any of this, Googled it. But that potentially could be breaking lower to around the $40 or below. Sir Jamie, can we do LRCX, please? Yes. LRC. That's land, yeah. Wow. Yeah. That's a pretty one there. Wow. Huge run up here. Potentially, again, consolidating here a little bit. This is a $491 stock. Wow. I remember the trade is much lower here. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Potentially some resist or support coming down to around 461. But if this momentum wants to continue, the upward trend is still trying to break to that $600 range there. And then Snap, actually, I like Snap a lot. I don't use the product, but the chart looks fantastic. This thing wants to continue to run higher. We're looking for some initial targets to $63 to the upside. That momentum between the 5 and 8 is looking like it continues to carry it higher, higher, and higher. But some downside support is going to be coming in basically around $46 to $47 to the downside. Initial first level support. Can we do QCOM? Yes, QCOM. So QCOM, if you were watching the live stream I did on Friday morning on my birthday, we talked about, we took a small portion of this stock or option, and I told very clearly, I'm like, hey, if it closes below the 34 EMA, I kind of want to get out of it and really put it on a short list on like being very careful with it. But it did not close below the 34 EMA. It still really was, it listened to me, and it did very well and still kind of consolidated here. Again, most moves in the market are an over exaggeration, which I think this one is really falls into play here. If it, as long as it stays above that 34 EMA, which is around $144 to $143, we can potentially kind of build a base here. It can come back down to around, it can touch this level around 136 to 140, but the trend needs to stay above some very key levels to kind of see some continuous growth coming in here. So, but yeah, on the stream, we think we bought February call options on this one. Oscar, what's up, my friend? Can we look at DBX? Yeah, this is kind of coming up quite a bit here. A lot of folks are asking about this. I know that some folks are saying they're being bought. Again, with storage, it's very a tough business to be in. Like, excuse me. Like Google has their Google Drive. Microsoft has their OneDrive. A lot of companies have these storage capacities now, but I think this could be something that could be bought up again by any company that needs some kind of very well structured formula for storing a lot of data for users as well, and organizing it in a very seamless, easy way to use. With again some key levels here. To the upside is $22.77. Downside supports are going to be potentially coming around $21.68 to $20.91 there. Are you taking a trip to the red light district in Holland? No, I'm not. I'm not doing that. I'm happily married. Thank you. I don't know why DBX is up. People are saying rumors. Let's see here. Oh, what? Oh, shoot. Sorry, folks. A thing just updated. I saw something. Oh, they're tracking it through the MAC address. I guess that kind of makes sense. But do people know that? That they're being tracked like that? I don't know. I guess it's pretty easy. I saw LCA quite a few times. Let's see here. The chat guys are picking up here. A lot of folks coming in here now. LCA, I kind of like this one. I've talked to two folks actually today separately about this, that this could be potentially running. I don't know too much about the gambling and sports betting industry, but these two individuals were very gung-ho about it. Potentially looking for this to kind of consolidate here, potentially even coming down to $20.50, but potentially to break above 26 to really get to that 35-ish range in the nearsighted term. Again, Golden Nugget is I think the acquiring company, or that's the company that they're going to be going public with via this SPAC. Jamie, you're very welcome, my friend. Someone's saying Tesla to the end, 1,000 to the end dollars in the week. I wish I. If you want to know why GameStop will no go bankruptcy, Google Michael Burry's GameStop. He crunches the data in his long, big time in GameStop. We didn't talk about Modernum yet. That is definitely one that we have not talked about. I always forget. Is it MR? How does that go? I'm just gonna see by Tom. Let's see here. Oh shoot. Is it MDERNA? Yeah, there it is. Boom. Yeah. Again, with all the vaccine stuff going out and things like that, we're potentially looking for some targets around that 261. Again, with the MRM, what is it called? The new way of how they're creating vaccines. Again, I'm nowhere near a scientist or anything like that on understanding on how these vaccines are created so fast and so and able to distribute them and really kind of get them in vials and get them out the door within like a year, less than a year. And it usually would take longer, but I think that with technology and things have really expanded it forward and really just kind of crushing that and really seeing some strong moves to the upside. but looking for, again, initial targets around 161. If this thing really wants to run, the next overall fib number that we're going to be looking at is around $226. But some initial short-dated support around 150 and then to around 131 there, my friend. Oh shoot, I can't miss. Okay, hold on. A lot of people are coming in now, so thank you guys for everyone for showing up. Let's see here. Okay, the chat is moving really fast here, guys. Sorry. Let's see. Someone says BFT. Yeah, BFT has come up quite a bit. Again, not 100% sure who or what is acquiring this. Again, I'm going to be completely straightforward. I am lost with all the SPACs right now. There's just too many of them for me and my brain to track everything. I need to make like some kind of like a PDF document that I can easily kind of like look up of like, oh, this is the casino company. Oh, this is another EV play. Oh, this is the window, blah, blah, blah. Like different things like that. But this thing looks like it wants to potentially go higher and really test a break above $15. But very difficult to kind of look at those other levels there. RAVN. We haven't looked at that. RAVN. Raven Industry. I don't even know what this does, but holy moly, that's a heck of a move here. Wow. Looks like a really strong comeback from its lows pre-pandemic here, and looking to break above 33.30 and start testing that $38 level to the upside there. This thing looks like I had some kind of Fibonacci on it here before. That's weird. Yeah, very strong looking here, potentially getting above 33.30 to potentially test 38. Wow, very interesting. Johnny, what's up, my friend? Okay, the thing just updated again. Sorry, folks, here. I'm not trading live now. I'm not going to be trading futures right now. Are you asking for friends? Boris, I wish Tesla would hit 1,000 too, right? Joe says, I'm new to stocks. I purchased VERV for $5.56 this Friday, but I don't intend to sell this Monday. So first of all, before you make a trade, Joe T, please make sure that you are have an exit strategy, anything going forth. Wow, this is a pretty insane move here. Again, this is something I wouldn't recommend trading or anything new to stocks. You're really just buying this FOMO or these crazy momentum names that can really just take your shirt, pants, and your wallet away from you, because these can really aggressively reverse back down. Vic, look, I can't pronounce that. Yeah, NIO looks interesting, without a doubt. With NIO, looking here on the daily side, kind of giving back here a little bit. It's really at that very tight capitulation phase of just kind of like sitting on the teeter-totter. It's kind of the sitting on the fence post, leaning left or right, not sure which way it's going to go. Really holding that 34 EMA here very slightly. That Fibonacci number on $42.20. Anything can happen in the market without a doubt, but this is looking like it wants, again, I don't know, like this is going to be a very hard one. This would be something that you want to be like selling like a straddle or a strangle on it, depending on what your capital requirements are, a little bit further out, and really seeing a large play up or down. I know a lot of folks that are long this stock and has a lot of calls on this, but it's going to be a difficult one to play. I want it to do well. I like these EV markets as well, but again, it does fall in that Chinese category, and it's something a little bit, I want to be very careful about that. TME. Someone said TME. Yeah, I like TME a lot, Ariel. That's a good looking one. TME is kind of breaking out here. It's a 10-cent music company, which again, falling right into that Chinese category stuff, but this looks like a very interesting play as well. All right, make sure I get everyone. Yeah, everyone friend DMC8282's wife on Facebook. Or I'm sorry, Facebook him, not his wife. So we get him some more friends more than his wife, so he becomes a cool kid. NN, it's NNDM. I think it's NNDM. I think you're talking about NNDM, which is again that Nano Dimensions 3D printing company out of Israel. This thing, this is a spicy tamale as well. With this one, really aggressively kind of coming down here, looking at some key levels around that $6.04 to potentially to that $5.88, potentially being some support to the upside. If it starts breaking below that, we're going to be looking for some prices around 532 or below. But this really would like this potentially to bounce here and run back up to that $8 plus to really run to $11.42. But this one is, again, very tight leash. We all know Mrs. Kathy Woods from ARK Investment owns a nice little chunk of change in that. Looks like someone donated. Papa D, should I get out of Zoom? That's a tough call, honestly, my friend. So I did a video on it just a couple days ago, with this kind of like triangle pattern here we're coming through. With Zoom, it's really going to be kind of tied to how you evaluate it and what your time frame is on it. I think everyone agrees here that it's a fantastic product, but is it a little bit too highly elevated to what its sales and everything is going forth? Initially looking at really showing some stronger support around that 393 to 383 level. If it really breaks below that level, we can potentially looking for some support around that 144 EMA in the daily chart, which would be around that $356 to $360, depending on what day it kind of comes down to that level. With initially that could be coming aggressively. Again, going back to Kathy Wood and ARK Investment, they have been buying this stock quite a bit here. And I think, and the ARK K fund, or the ARK, I think it's the ARK Innovation Fund, they own, I think 3 to 4% of their fund owns into Zoom. But they're going to be a much more longer time horizon than any other company, really with their stock. With that being said, to really see this break out, we need to start getting back above that 21 EMA, and have the 5 and 8 moving averages kind of swoosh back up into that 21 EMA, which we've seen actually it failed twice now. We've seen it fail here with that 5 and 8 potentially coming up, failing here, kind of curling back up, coming to that level here, failing once again, now kind of coming back down. Is a third time a charm? Maybe, maybe not. We don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't think anyone does, but we're going to be looking for some key levels to kind of see how that plays out there. So hopefully that was helpful. And again, thank you for the $2 and the donation, my friend. All right, make sure I missed. I know I missed a lot here. Johnny, I saw Johnny, you posted something. SQ, yeah, Square. Man, you guys are picking all the Kathy Woods ARK Investment stocks. So there's another huge investment they have in this as well, with SQ. Basically kind of just taking over payments and getting it really heavy in cryptos, and really kind of changing in how we use cash and really pay for things. Really looking somewhat to the future, how China and Japan and the Asian markets literally use their phones for payments and using QR codes like Venmo and that scanning and doing various things just all through your phone and not really using cash anymore. Potentially looking for that 220, 219 level to break here with the next overall targets around 261. I know that seems insane, but this stock is really just, I think, between them and PayPal, it's really much the future and really can potentially see these at some substantial prices. To the downside, we're going to see some initial support around 204 to 220. Sorry, 204 to 202. Some initial support kind of coming to the 21 EMA there. David is saying BEN. Yeah, what does this one do? Holy moly. I'm not gonna, that's David. What? You in this one? This is insane. This is that 5 and 8 moving averages. I think you've told us before, is just looking insane. Kind of coming down for the short terms of support again. It has held that 5 EMA for weeks on end. That's insane. You see it's extremely overbought here. Whatever drug they have going here is very, very spicy, and it's looking really nice there. But this is definitely a very interesting looking chart there. I need to look into that. Actually, I'm gonna write that down. I just want to know what the heck they do over there. I'm in long-term PayPal, so I'm really happy with that. Someone says QS too. So QS is actually another stock that has been like a Bill Gates, like really heavy, aggressive EV manufacturing car company, blah 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 blah, batteries technology. Really came out of nowhere, really gapping up really large here. Initially looking for some support in the short term around $62, but this can come all the way down to the 57 and even down to $41, and that trend will still be in a very upward aggressive movement there. Papa D, another with another $5. I made a killing on Rite Aid, sold at 19, got it at 10. A Redfin 2. Yes, Rite Aid is RAD, right? Yeah, Rite Aid, wow, nice. That is definitely a nice move. We're seeing it kind of consolidate at this pattern up here. So looks like you got out pretty much at the top here if you're trading it. If you're investing, you're going to have a little bit of a different time frame there. But Redfin and Zillow. Are you still in Redfin? What is Redfin's ticker symbol? Let me just type it in here. Redfin. There it is. Yeah, Redfin. I think it's got some juice left, honestly, Papa D, with the overall stay-at-home trend and just home building and all the stuff that we've been seeing from potentially with Lennar, Toll Bros, KB Homes, all the other building manufacturers are saying like, hey, we're busy. Like we got a lot going on here with Redfin and Zillow. We'll look at Zillow here in a second, but this thing potentially, again, this has been very aggressive, potentially going to be hitting the top band of the RSI and as the volumes on oscillator, but potentially looking for $62.65 if that trend wants to continue and maybe getting a slowdown there going there. But we can go jump what I think is the market leader of Zillow, which is kind of the same place as well. It's kind of breaking above that 120, initially looking for 130 for that target for that one, potentially to print higher. In the long run, I'm really looking for 150 to 157, which would be my price targets for the Zillow going forth there. Yeah, one of my buddies just text me, please do you. Yes, you is something that is a absolutely one I owned for a little bit, but got shooken out here, honestly. I don't know how or why. I wrote it all the way up. I bought in probably on the $70 range, and then kind of wrote it all the way up. It was holding that again, it was very hard to kind of judge these ones because they're newer IPOs. Really looking to continue to grind higher here, especially with the video game trend. Initial support coming around 150 to even to that 140 range would be still something to really look forth there. Yeah, we can look at Tesla as well. So Tesla has been a very choppy one here going forth and really kind of just bouncing around here as well. Again, since we had that huge movement here with talking about them getting brought into the S&P 500, huge run up here, holding that 5 and 8 moving averages, then getting really choppy here between that 5 and 8 moving averages here, and really, again, not coming down to the 21 EMA, which is, again, a key level of the continuous support to the upside, but looking for some consolidation going forth here. But with Tesla, I think we could continue potentially to see a run in the next couple days or weeks. Someone said 1,000. I'm going to say that's going to be a little bit ridiculous. And a little bit out of the norm of what the market makers are projecting. Not saying it can't happen if they have a cure for the virus as well, and they have a cure for cancer, and they know how to make delicious cupcakes, and they give everyone free cupcakes for the rest of the life, everyone for the rest of their life. I think that would be a fantastic, and I think that's how Tesla could make $1,000 by the end of the week if they give cupcakes out. Joking aside, initially looking for some targets if it does want to run to around that 650 range, that 786 or 7, what is it? I think Goldman Sachs gave them a price target, but again, they gave it a whole year out around $780. I think that's going to be very much doable with some of the great stuff coming from them. Papa D says, I like Sunworks, $10 in January. I don't even know that one. What is that one? Sunworks. Papa, that's a good looking chart there, man. It's SUNW. Something looks interesting there again. I'm guessing this is a solar play. Really interesting play. Looks like, was this a, no, this wasn't a, this was a penny stock here. Went up to $8.05, came back down, consolidating, holding that 21 EMA, had a nice squeeze, ran all the way up to $8 again, came back down, potentially holding that 21 to 34 again, potentially building up another squeeze, and then running up to $8 again. I think that's a very insightful plan there, Papa D. Thank you for sharing that with the group. Appreciate that. But this is, again, be very careful on this one. Okay, a lot of people are coming here, guys. Thank you for everyone who's come out today. Let's look at Olivia says BA. Yeah, we look at BA. We talked about it a little bit. With BA, again, really kind of coming back into the aerospace and defense stuff. We've seen this kind of topping pattern here before around the $225, with some targets trying to break above that 267 here. Really looking for that to continue as carrying us higher here. With the overall market shakeups that we've seen, with the positive news that we're seeing go forth with vaccines, they're literally being shipped by FedEx and by mail to all parts of the country, and really ramping up the production of them and really getting that list breaking down and really get things up and running. Really just kind of nipping in the bud here and potentially seeing this go up to some very high levels again. People are still ordering. I have to look again. Maybe honestly, I think it was Olivia who were looking at this, that how many people have canceled their newer airlines. If I remember correctly, it wasn't that much. It was like maybe out of like all the orders they had, maybe 10 to 15% people cut their particular orders here. But that is definitely something to look out for there. Not nothing too aggressive here, but with that being said, I like BA. I would like to potentially add to my overall longer dated position here, which I have with Leaps, which would be around 225 if we do get down to that level, but keeping it somewhat on a short leash to the downside, and looking for potentially to that 21 EMA for some strong support. But if we get a nice, really strong recovery, which again, we got the S&P 500 nearly up 20 points here. We got the NASDAQ up. Both of the stocks both up nearly 0.5% here, potentially looking for 267 to the upside for some near-dated targets. Papa D says down 4K on ADT. Help. LOL. ADT. This is a you're down 4K. I don't know when you bought this, but it looks like it's trying to turn itself back around here. Even with earnings kind of a somewhat of a shock here, but we're looking for potential support around that $8 to $8.20. If that breaks, we could see some potential further downsides to $7-ish. With that, those support levels there, the next level target to the upside is going to be around $9.32, which is also a Fibonacci number there. But we don't have any squeezes in place. We do have a monthly squeeze. How long has this been around? The only thing is a little concerning here on the weekly side. This has had issues before the pandemic, and that's usually not a big fan of that cup of tea there. This is going to be a choppy one. That's going to be a very difficult one to kind of help you on this one. Oops, wrong chart. Wrong time frame. There we go. To really see on how this one plays out there. I saw a lot of people asking about Nvidia. Okay, guys and gals, you guys are ripping on a lot of charts here, and I'm going to try my very best to get everything covered as best as possible. With that being said, Nvidia kind of been a lagging, honestly. It's been lagging here. Really not doing much of anything. Like, it's not breaking down kind of things. It's just kind of just like a little blah, just trading sideways here. And we're seeing that continuous pattern here. Not in the short term, not really getting above that 542 here. And really not getting below that 514. So again, we're kind of trading in that ping pong box, that parabolic move, or the purgatory box that I call, and just not really seeing much of anything until we get a substantial movement in either direction on really helping us understand where the market would be taking us in the path of least resistance. As of right now, the path of least resistance is not really telling us here anything, because again, we haven't really broken down or broken up at any level here. You're really just kind of rolling the dice here, potentially hoping and praying that something happens, but there isn't really a, technically speaking, something that's really helping you define that risk, unless you want to be looking to the downside. If you want to buy at this level, potentially but having a stop loss around 514 to 510, and really potentially seeing it play back up to 542 or to the downside, vice versa, depending on how what kind of cup of tea and what sugar and honey you like in that the game of the stock market. And guys, thank you for coming out. This has been fantastic stream, guys. Continuous with a lot of great names, a lot of people pushing things. And going forth here. I saw we did CCL, my friend. We covered that a little bit. It's looking like with the positive vaccine news, we could get a nice little boost here. It's been holding around that $22 pattern, but that's a good looking chart there. But I'm long-term playing that. I saw someone say MP. Again, MP is also a stock that has been coming up on quite a few request on live streams again. With that movement with MP kind of coming out of nowhere here, and really just like, I believe this is the mining company or something like that, or some kind of building materials. I forget exactly what SPAC this was or what acquisition this was, But this is also another aggressive pattern here, holding that 5 and 8 moving averages and just continue to grind higher here. As long as it stays above that 21 EMA, which is going to be basically around that 21 to the low 22s-ish range, we could potentially see that grind its way higher with some potential breakouts above 30 to potentially targets at $35 to the upside there. Anthony, LCA, we like LCA as well, potentially kind of consolidating where we're currently looking at. Of course, with the vaccine news, it's definitely going to be looking up pretty good there. We just did MP there, Anthony, my friend. VERU, we already did that one too, Jacob, so please rewind back there. Wait, let's look at Amazon. So we just did a stock of Nvidia. They didn't do much of anything, but this is definitely another movement here and seeing it play out here and looking at really a stock that hasn't done much of anything here and just kind of doing just trading sideways here and really waiting for a potential break higher and lower from where we're currently looking at. So with Amazon here, some key levels we're going to be looking at is that 3,075-ish range. If we get some good data or whatever, like I think Amazon's still a company that can just literally just crush anyone with its huge hand here. And I find it strange that it really hasn't really been doing much of anything here at all here. Initially looking for, again, some key levels here to hold here. If we do get a break here, we're going to be potentially looking for below 3,000. But that is kind of a rare case, I honestly want to say. It has been beaten up a little bit, but I don't think it's that beaten up here. But that could be potentially going to 3,000. But I'm more of an optimistic kind of guy. I like some sugar and bounce in my coffee. We're going to be potentially looking for that 3158 to potentially that 3,200 plus to see that movement to go up there. So, yeah. Lewis says TRIL. TRIL. True Million Therapeutics. Yeah, this is interesting. It looks like they had some kind of data miss or something happened here, some kind of bad news of some kind, and having that 5 and 8 moving averages aggressively cross through the 21 EMA and bounce pretty hard around that 144 EMA, which is again another key Fibonacci moving average that we're looking at here. Initially looking again around that $11.69 for some support. Would rather like to see this kind of build up here a little bit and get the 5 and 8 moving averages to kind of start curling here a little bit and kind of play it from there. Thoughts on Fastly? Yeah, Fastly again, another stock that I believe ARK Investment has been accumulating here as well in the past. Looking for some initial kind of run up here. We have some very aggressive patterns coming through here. We have the 5 and 8 moving average continue to grind us higher here and really looking for to potentially break back 100 to break back past $100 and potentially to 107. But this is going to be a very interesting pattern to play out again. This thing has been beaten up due to the whole TikTok stuff, but yeah, wow, like what a crazy ride with this one going really dropping out of the sky from 136 all the way down to around $60, getting cut. Really crazy haircut going on there. Looks like, okay, Chewy. Okay, guys, I know I really do apologize, the bottom of my heart. I know I'm tapping on my pretzel shirt here, but I'm going to try my very best to look at the charts or look at all the tickers, but a lot of people are spamming and a lot of things are kind of going through very aggressive here, so just be very mindful of others here. That being said, Chewy killed it on earnings. We talked about it potentially hitting that $81 price target on the coin flip on earnings. Looks like it blew right past that. Some initial targets further to the upside could be potentially $90 plus, with the long-term trend potentially looking to 113 to 115 for Chewy. Downside support, as you can see here, the 5 and 8 moving averages have been very aggressive with this stock, so we're looking for that to continue here. Short-term support is going to be coming around $75, $74, and then potentially even down to $73 to $70 for that next level stage of support going forth here, guys. Airbnb. I can't honestly give anything on Airbnb. It has not have enough data for me to kind of give you a technical analysis. Thoughts on NIO? I think NIO is in a very interesting place on the sense of really it's like seesaw pattern on trying to figuring out if it's going to go short or long. So this could be a potential play for options in the sense of buying a strangle or straddle here, and just potentially playing the puts and calls to the extreme side, maybe buying like 30 deltas or 40 deltas on puts and calls that are a couple months out, and really just seeing how the fun joy could explode here. MMED. What is that one? MNED. It better not be a penny stock. It looks like it is. You said M. Yeah, I don't see that one popping up, my friend. Yeah, look at the Disney. Disney, of course, anyone who's a Star Wars fan is very happy to see all the stuff that we're going to be being able to see on the stories and things like that they're creating in us at the same time with the more of the deeper lore of Avengers and the Marvel universe. Key target around that 173. If this trend wants to continue, we've had a very large move to the upside here. If this really wants to continue, we're going to be looking for that $200 plus here. So $200 is going to be the next overall target to the upside there. Looks like a lot of folks want PLTR, which I don't think we've done really aggressively today. With this one, I just did a video about a funny Wall Street Bets analysis of saying PLTR to 200 using the New York skyline as their way of calculating that price here. With PLTR, really want to look at this at a very fine-tooth comb here, with the swing high to swing low here on the Fibonacci levels, really kind of painting us a pretty decent picture here. Which we're seeing here at some level around $24 here. And then really looking for that $26 level, which we've seen some tight consolidation on some patterns here, but stronger support to that $24 to that $23 range, again, where the 21 EMA and some previous support and takeoff has taken place, with some overall targets to the upside is going to be around $30 plus. So $30 plus is how you get that, Ken. Well, that 28.24 has kind of been some overall short-term pressure, but that $30 call, if you start going down the options chain, you see a lot of options activity going out multiple times on looking for that continuous movement for PLTR for $30 plus. To the downside, anything can happen. Citron or another short firm can go out and just kind of give it a big slap across the face. But I think Citron, being the largest of the largest firms that do these research supports, and the one I'm trying to think if there's any other larger firm that goes on like CNBC that really, like, by Andrew Left, goes on and starts slapping around a company. Like, I'm trying to think. I think there's another, like, two other companies. I just can't think of them that I've seen on CNBC that really are able to use their megaphone and just kind of scream at from the top of their lungs to short something. NNDM, that's an interesting one. We have some support at $6. If $6 breaks, we could be looking for 550 below, but some targets for NNDM is potentially to break above $8 on my charts. Bitcoin 30K by 2022. Sure, why not? Anything can happen, right? Corsair CS. Yeah, I missed that one. CRSR, right? Yeah, this thing again looks like it's a newer IPO, so you have to be very careful and mindful of that. It's only had one earnings. Usually these take a little bit longer to kind of balance out here. With this one being said, we're looking for that initial support potentially around $34. If we do get the 5 and 8 moving averages aggressively through this level here, we could potentially looking for $30 next level of support here. But the 34 EMA has been support on a lot of other charts, not on this one though, but we could see this potentially some rebounding here around 32 to 33, maybe building a base here and consolidating here a little bit, because again, maybe had too much of a run up too fast and really needs some shake out some of those weak hands before we see some higher prices. Andy MNEDF, yes, I have to give another shout out to Alpaca. He's a wonderful subscriber and Patreon and YouTube member on the Discord who's been in that stock since well below $1, I believe, and he's pretty sure happy camper on right now. With that stock, I think we're potentially looking for $5 and above for the next price target. BLNK. Looks like another SPAC again. Or is it a SPAC? Looks like a penny stock. Okay. Blink chart. Okay, this is the charging network port thing, kind of thing. I always get this and Switch mixed up. Is this the same thing as Switch? This one looks like it's kind of pulling back here a little bit. Bounced very hard off that 200 or the 21 EMA here. Then coming up to that 2883. Kind of gets somewhat rejected here with those parabolic SER dots. And looking for movement here and breaking above that those purple dots, which is the parabolic SER dots. Really seeing that $28 to be broken, with the next targets being its previous high around 35 and looking for $43 to the upside. Again, this is really going to be indicative to the overall EV play from that. Makeshift, what's up, my friend? I just saw your comment. Yes, yeah, Alpaca has been all over that. I know you have been discussing that quite a bit, and a lot of folks within the Discord. And thank you. Yes, I'm using Thinkorswim software that you see on charting here. Prime says ACB rare earth play, huge upside coming 2021. Yeah, what's up with these rare earth stocks? Like, I thought mining was like a thing of the past. Like, this is insane. Like, again, it's a penny stock, not usually my favorite cup of tea. The reason why I say that is because I've traded penny stocks way before, and I was terrible at it. But this one I can kind of give you some of my better, like the best possible analysis I can do, because it is a penny stock and it has. This thing used to be $14 before. Like, holy moly! Like, what what happened? Did it have some kind of split or something like that? It looks like it just fell out of the sky here on the beginning of 19 of February and just continued a downtrend here, really probably due to some money issues here and getting into some of the penny market here, but then getting a huge boost higher. We're looking here on a weekly chart. Let me go back to the daily side. Looks like they announced something here, created a huge FOMO candle here, and just really continue to grind lower here. Again, not too familiar with the company at all. It looks like the Prime just saying it's basically September 2020, the United States declared it's a national emergency because of the lack of mining for rare earth. Oh, okay. So this is in September. Okay, that makes sense. I've never heard of that. Yeah, rare earth equals batteries, right? That's basically, we need all those wonderful minerals from Mother Nature to help us take care of our EV battery needs. There's just so many out there. Like, I wish I knew more about this, honestly. Yeah, coal. Oh, that makes sense. A lot of people are negative on it because of coal. I see what you're saying. Ah, I see. I gotcha. So they're pivoting. It was an offering. Okay. Yeah, I added it honestly to my list, Prime, and I'll take a look at it a little bit more under more of a fine tooth comb. But this thing is definitely looking. If it gets any kind of movement, again, it has large moves in its DNA already kind of baked in. So with the overall cohort of like MP, you have other larger companies. I can't remember listing on top of my head, and really looking for this potentially to kind of play out here with some movements to the upside. But yeah, this is definitely an interesting chart without a doubt. A little bit hard for me to trade it just because of it's a penny stock. Someone said Alibaba. Alibaba with this one, this is kind of just sitting in your hands and just kind of wait mode. We're kind of just sitting here around that 144 EMA here around the 264, 265, and really looking for this is definitely a play to the upside to potentially get to that 283 to 275 and above. If it wants to break lower, we're going to be potentially looking for 250 and below for some initial support there. I appreciate that, Prime. Yeah, thank you for bringing it to my attention. Like, I do appreciate people really sticking their necks out and just saying, hey, just look at it. I'm not trying to tell you to buy it, not telling you to put in your life savings into it. Just like, hey, do your own research, just trying to help a brother out. I appreciate that. Thank you, my friend. It sounds like you know your stuff. So, Johnny says PLM. Yeah, looks like another mining one here. It looks like, yeah, these it's hard to do technical analysis on these stocks just because look at these like these weird spikes. Like um it did a 1-for-10 split here. Not usually that's kind of strange for a stock that's trading at $4. Um but yeah, very hard to kind of gauge at these prices here because it just has these huge like spikes up and down. It's very hard to kind of give it a technical support and resistance line. It's just kind of just trading in that range between $3.50 up or plus or minus 25 to 50 cents to the up or downside, but looking for huge spikes up and potentially those would be great selling opportunities there. S and E. Someone says S and E. Sony. Yes, Sony has been. Wow. Look at that. This has been a fantastic. Again, this is a direct play due to the PlayStation 5 and the absolutely crazy demand that we've always seen with these consoles coming through. Everything from way back when I can remember. Trying to get on your hands on like a PlayStation 2 or PlayStation 1 back in the day. Like still ongoing problems. Like until everyone gets a PC, which is aka the master race. I'm just joking out there. Everything will just be this continuous glut on, especially like we saw a huge glut on the Nintendo Switches, even going out for those ones as well. But yeah, this chart looks really good. Like it looks like it wants to continue growing higher, potentially test $100 to the upside. But yeah, that's definitely going to be a nice run for the holiday thing as well. Oh, it's lithium. Lithium is probably the biggest miner. Yeah. Can you look at Take Two Interactive? TTWO. Yeah, this thing has been really strong here, honestly, Chris. So with this one really took off here. This is really looking to break up that 188 level. The next target is basically 198 to $200 for Take Two Interactive, but very aggressive stock again with a 5 and 8 moving averages to continue to grind higher here. That whole gaming stuff is really much an upward trend, even though with Cyberpunk 2077 kind of being great graphics, great game, but still bugs and glitches over 8 years, blah, 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 blah. I think gaming is still a very strong movement. Again, with Take Two Interactive, those are the folks that make Grand Theft Auto, right? Am I get that right? I think so. I think so. I have to look that up. And then I don't know what's the ticker symbol for Nintendo, because I know Nintendo's an LLC here for the market, so I forget the number for that or the letter for the things for that. UA Mac 11, yeah, BA. We have some support around $225, with some targets around 265, 267. But it really needs to stay above 225 if you're going to be a little bit more aggressive and loosely. You're going to be looking for basically like 215 potentially for some support. LSPD, light speed positions. Light speed position. Wow, an interesting chart here. Really aggressive pattern, kind of just trading sideways here. Potentially, again, somewhat of flag pattern, as they call like a bullish flag here. Potentially looking for consolidation here. Maybe waiting for the moving averages to kind of catch up and maybe get a bit higher here. But some key levels to break is going to be potentially its previous high and those parabolic SCR dots. But a very aggressive pattern here. Would like to keep it on a short leash though. Let's see here. Okay, sorry folks. There's a lot of people in here. Full disclosure, there's usually like 30 to 40, but you guys are killing it today, coming out super strong. We got 300, holy moly, 300 plus people. Let's do, okay, subscriber. Okay, Bates, what's up, my friend? AKMA. Interesting pattern here. This one looks interesting because, again, looks like sold off on earnings, coming into some really tight consolidation here around 104-ish range, and potentially looking to consolidate here. Excuse me. Initial support is going to be around that 102 to around that 100 level. But if we can get a break above here and get that squeeze to fire along, we could potentially get back to that 107 to 110 range. But this is a very tight one that's kind of be in a very tight range to potentially see on how it plays out. I know, Christopher, like, I know on my birthday stream, we had like 30, 40 people, and it was really easy to answer questions, but I was just so busy actively trading my own accounts and things like that. But now the Sunday night streams are just something that are just so popular, honestly. I don't think a lot of people were awake even in that morning, though. Someone says to Tesla, to Mars, and beyond. Yes. With Tesla, full disclosure, I am making a funny video on the SpaceX Cup. I got that for my birthday gift. Absolutely love it for my wife. Where if you haven't seen it, it's a fantastic cup. Whereas the a picture of Mars on it, but once you pour your hot coffee or tea in it, the beautiful planet of Mars warms up, aka they need to nuke the F out of the planet to raise its overall temperature, create a nice, secure ozone layer around that. So that being said, once you add heat to the cup, it turns Mars red planet into a beautiful Earth-like with rivers and greens and seas and rivers running through it. It's a fantastic cup. I want to do a video on it just to flex on it because I love it so much. Alan, what's up, my friend? And thank you again for the $5 for my birthday. I did actually get a donut actually with that. Let's see here. Okay, people are really moving really fast here. AQB, I've seen that a lot too. Let's look at AQB. This thing has, was this a SPAC or was it another penny stock? Okay, that's something that has just been going. It was actually SpaceX swag, not Christopher. It was SpaceX swag, not Tesla swag. I should have asked for Tesla. I just should ask for a Model Y next time for my birthday. With that being said, Boston cream filled with the traditional chocolate with Boston cream filling. Don't judge me if you hate it. Did you stream on your B-Day, Ken? I did. It was a very short, and I kind of kept it really short and sweet because I was really trading my own accounts, and the market was kind of going kind of crazy. But yeah, thank you, Makeshift. I always appreciate your support, my friend. So with AQB here, wow, what do we do here? We have the the parabolic SER dots kind of helping with some support here, coming into some initial support around $6.71. If those break, we're going to be looking for some levels around 615 to around that 685-ish range to the downside. But those are some aggressive movements down. If that really wants to aggressively push further down, we're going to be looking for some levels below $5 to 450. Some targets to the upside we want to keep mindful about is around $8, and potentially again that all-time high we kind of bounced off around $11.50 up at those kind of levels. I love donuts. Just like so, I got so many cupcakes for my birthday. It's terrible. I love cupcakes too. Um, DMTK. What is that? Wow. That's going to be a hard one to trade. This is definitely a very interesting chart here. And that is just way too much chop for me, to quite honestly, to kind of give you any kind of parameters around it. And this is just going to be too much of a movement going up and down. This is a little bit too much chop here. It's really just kind of, it sells off around 15, comes back down, then shows some support around 10, just kind of just bounces around again. Really has that that same kind of pattern of just like being in this box and just trying to break out. We talked about BA already. We talked about BA initially showing some support around 225, even down to 215. And if those hold, depending on how aggressive you want to get, to potentially look for 260 or above. That's going to be what I'm going to be looking at on my charts. David S says plug please and thank you, for using your manners. PLG. No, sorry. PLG. Okay, I thought someone said plug too. We can look at. Did someone say plug? Um. Wow, platinum. Okay, all these rare earth metals are just really killing it, aren't they? Wow, this is insane. Yeah, I don't even know if this was a penny stock and it just has taken off from out of nowhere on it. This is gonna be a hard one, David, for me to kind of give you also analysis on. Like these are just like crazy astronomical moves. We can kind of, I can maybe try to look at some of these levels down here, but let's look at, maybe I just go from here to here. Let me see what this does. Like this is gonna be a pretty aggressive pattern going through here. Key levels, some targets for the upside can be around $7.73. But yeah. This is definitely something to, this is a crazy move. Of course, I wouldn't surprise anything else more from you, David, just on having the absolutely craziest setups. Okay, Bits, this is AKMA and Fastly. We just, did you ask already about AKMA? We kind of covered that one, looking for initially around 405. potentially to break to 407 to the downside support. It's going to be in the short term to 102 to 100, but really looking for some tight consolidation here. If it does break higher, we could be looking for 107 to 110. Let's see here, and then Fastly. Yeah, Fastly. We did that one. We can cover that one for you, my friend. Fastly, of course, kind of coming back. Excuse me. From the dead, kind of hitting off that $100 level here multiple times. If we can get any kind of push up higher from here, we're going to be looking for 107 to 113. Downside support in the short term is going to be around $90 there. Thank you, Paul, for the happy birthday wishes. I really, really do appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, this is getting insane. Like, the chat's moving too fast here, folks. I really enjoy a French. What is that? I gotta Google that. What is a French curl? That might be something inappropriate. Sounds inappropriate. Oh yeah. The old-fashioned donuts. I know what those are. Yeah, those are hard to find. I like any kind of. I love Danishes too. You're welcome, Beats, and thank you again for being a fantastic member. Space long term, I love Space long term, to be quite honest. I own longer dated leaps with Space. I know that they had some issues coming in to Friday. There was a lot of folks were holding a lot of very aggressive call options expiring soon with Space here. Depending on how it opens up and trades tomorrow, overall pressure is going to be around $35 to 34 cents. Is going to be up to the upside. It's going to be the key target, overhead resistance. With the news being somewhat negative, we're going to be potentially projecting something to go lower, looking for some targets around $30 to 29.72. If it really wants to crash and go lower, we're going to be looking for 27 to 25. And again, really can come down all the way down to $21 as well going there. So yeah. RTX, that is Raytheon Tech, right? Oh yeah, RTX. Rack space. Okay, so data centers, yeah, I've used these guys before. I didn't know these guys were publicly traded. Maybe I did. Looks like I did. This is definitely some interesting patterns here. This looks like it's not updated here. One second. Oops, fat fingers here. Yeah. Key level tries to break above 2114, 2114. Really looking to potentially test its all-time highs, and really key targets for this one is going to be definitely to $24 to $27 for the upside there. Thank you guys for all the late birthday wishes. I really do appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The big C. Yeah. The big yeah. Interesting chart here. I'm not going to lie. Like, this thing came like a bat out of hell here on its IPO date, but then gave it all back. Like, I want to compare it to like a Snow or something like that. I know it's not in the same industry, but the chart pattern kind of makes me feel the same in the sense of how much it has gone up and then down and then consolidated and done nothing. Even though it's been pretty strong here, it has been beaten up quite a bit here. And really seeing this pattern potentially to trade sideways here, but around really having an issue kind of breaking and staying above $80 here. But this is definitely looking for some initial support to the downside, maybe around 70. But there is a lot of this kind of beaten up here and really just not been able to get out of its own way here and really see some potential strength go through. Since we've had 2 earnings already, looking forth on this one, potentially looking at earnings going out to into February of next year. This is going to be a difficult one to trade without a doubt, but this is something that could have a pretty large surprise and just run up very heavily. FUBO, I'm not going to do that one because you're spamming it. Please don't do that, man. Let's be cool here. I know I might not get to your thing, but let's all be grown-ups here. Okay, hold on. Oh, I've seen it quite a bit here. APXT. I don't know if I can write that. APXT. I'm gonna go through quite a few pretty fast here, and then we'll just kind of it's getting a little bit late here for myself, and I'm getting a little tired here. I need to get my beauty sleep here. This is SPAC. Yeah, it looks like it's some kind of SPAC here. Yeah, APEC. Okay, I know this one does. I don't know what they're doing, but whatever. This is definitely looking for some support around 1360. We are seeing that 5 and 8 moving average continuous to grind us higher here initially, looking for potentially testing that $15.58 again. We have not closed above that here, but we are seeing this trend kind of carrying us here higher a little bit here. Initially looking for some downside support, potentially coming into that 21 EMA if that can kind of catch up and break through some key levels there as well. But this is one, again, very large move on the news of the merger most likely going through, and looking for some consolidation going forth here. SBE, yes, this is the switch one, right? Yeah. Okay, yeah, this one was interesting as well. Huge run, bounced off that 21 EMA super aggressively, bounced higher, held that 5 and 8 moving averages, and now kind of trading sideways. With that looking here, we're looking for probably $32.90 for short-term support here, and then longer dated support are going to be looking to kind of break above $45 if we can get that momentum to go any kind of higher from that level there. We did DBX. DBX is initially looking to get to 25, maybe. Let's see here. FUBO. Interesting play as well. This is, I believe, a Chinese company here with the 5 and 8 moving averages grinding us higher here, showing again a lot of things did kind of sell off and somewhat kind of correct a little bit. Going to Thursday, Friday. This still looks fairly strong here. The only thing is we did break the parabolic SAR dot, so went from the bottom to the top, and now we're looking for some initial support in the short term around 25.88. If we can get the 21 EMA to the 34 EMA to go higher here, we could potentially get somewhat of a bounce here and kind of trade from there. But this is something that I would be very careful on looking at here. With that level here, with overall resistance when trying to break above 30 going forth here. Oh, it's a streaming company, but it's a streaming company in China, correct? Someone says Goog. Yeah, Google. I like Google here. I'm not gonna lie. I like Google quite a bit here. I think it bounced off really beautifully here on the 34 EMA, and now looking to potentially test to 1800 plus. Some short-term support around 1725 though. The real one says Lulu. Yeah, that thing sold off right on earnings. Sold off on earnings, came down right to that 50-day, which is again enhance that red dotted teal line you can barely see here. Really looking for a nice strong bounce here potentially. Again, I don't like to go out the next day or next 2 or 3 days after earnings and just buy it hand over fist. But it's something that I want to be very mindful about. It has taken quite a bit back. Remember, Nike has earnings coming up too. Greg, and great show. Happy birthday. Get some sleep. Thank you, Greg. I really appreciate that. Thank you, my friend. The stream, they stream sports mostly in Latin America and USA, I think. Okay. Again, I have no idea it's anything about sports. I know nothing about sports. What's up with Yale? What is that one? How about DraftKings? We did DraftKings. DraftKings really is in that same kind of range, just bouncing around here, around trying to get it back above that 155 to one. To break above to get to $55 plus. No, we have done Tesla, but we'll do it again. Looks like a lot of folks are still requesting it. Totally fine. This is one of the more heavily traded stocks here. With Tesla, we're still seeing a very aggressive motion coming in here, still holding that 5 and 8 moving averages. We have not closed below it. The thing is, on Thursday and Friday, we did get a pretty heavy selling towards the end of the week with very aggressive bounce backs, to be quite honest here. But we're seeing somewhat of a consolidation pattern going through here, and really looking for some support coming around 590 and very strong support around 550 to 560. Chris, what's the ticker symbol for that? I think that sounds so familiar. I thought I had a list on that one. I think I saw that on like Investor Business Daily. They were highlighting it. Oops. Yes. This one. I like it. I was looking at this chart, Chris. I like this chart quite a bit. This is something AR on, yeah, BFT we've talked about multiple times already. Very aggressive stock. Looks like a lot of people want to see this go much higher. That being said, yeah, this thing looks really interesting. It's been holding that 5 and 8 moving average as well. Yeah, very new. I don't think a lot of people know about it. But this is a very interesting stock that I will maybe be throwing a couple shekels in to kind of see on how it plays out. Piton. Yes, I want a Piton bike. This one, huge stay-at-home play. People love it. A lot of people use it a lot. I haven't seen the van go by my neighborhood in quite some time. This is definitely looking like it potentially could rebound here. Looking for a break, excuse me, around 121. If it breaks above that, we're going to be looking for 130, which was a previous target, which it's failed at. But showing a lot of strong support around the 110 range, though. 110 looks very strong here for some downside support. Disney, do we think it could reach support level at 179, break and move above? I think Disney in the long term is looking for 200. I don't know if it's gonna that move that we saw Friday is going to continue, but I think we could see some levels of support around 173. If it does want to pull back, that 155 to 157 is somewhat of a range price support there. Support level there as well. MMED does not pull up my charts, my friend. I think we did that one already. As you see it, just see it spinning here. So MMED does not exist, my friend, on Thinkorswim. NIO is ready for calls. Yeah, NIO, like we talked about, is kind of sitting on that teeter-totter, sitting on the fence, kind of waiting to see on which way it's going to go. Really looking for potentially, again, I have no idea where it's going to go. It's at a very tight fork in the road. This could go blast off higher, but it could also go blast off lower here as well. Initially looking here for some stronger support around 42.20. It's kind of where the 34 EMA is. It's a Fibonacci number. Potentially, again, if we get that 5 and 8 moving average start curling back up, we can easily see this back up a plus $50 plus here. And then to the downside, potentially looking for $35. So I'm going to be potentially looking at pricing out some options on maybe buying, I don't know, March or February $50 calls, and then maybe buying like $35 puts and just kind of letting the trading gods take care of it for me. Oh, it's MMDF. Okay, they're missing the F. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. We covered that one quite a bit. And again, full shout out to Alpaca within the Discord. If you do join the Discord, please give Alpaca or Mart, I forget his name, in the Discord. Which again, I'll give him a shout out tomorrow or tonight, most likely tomorrow. But yeah. LCA, yes, great looking one as well. Again, LCA getting into the gambling, sports betting, whatever. This is definitely one that could run, showing some initial support around $20, but this could run to $26 to $30 plus. PSTH, yeah, this is one you're just kind of just waiting on for Mr. Bill Ackman, the silver fox with his wonderful hair, really waiting to kind of see on what company they are trying to acquire. SNDL, not going to be touching that with a 10-foot pole. That kind of had a huge run up. Maybe coming down for some support around 45 to 46 cents, but this again needs a lot of run up here potentially. Again, again somewhat of a FOMO play and a lot of short selling, or sorry, day trading mentality here. Again, it could hold 45 to $46 and run back up to $1 plus maybe. Anything can happen in the market, right? We just covered Google. Whoever just said Google, I like Google potentially going to 1800 plus. We just did Tesla as well. Tesla's been very choppy going forth. We did Snow, Spy. We'll do a couple more here. Drew, thank you for the birthday wishes. I appreciate it. What's it? NCLH, is that Norwegian? Yeah, Norwegian Cruise Lines, like we just talked about. Definitely looking for like CCL, like Carnival Cruise Lines. Definitely looking for continuous growth, but you have to be a little bit longer time horizon. This is not just going to jump back up to $30-$40 in the next couple days. This is going to take time with the vaccines that are going to go through and going through there. I want to buy calls, Alan. Love it. I love you. Okay, Beats says, is Zoom still worth? Zoom, I'll be honest, it shook me out. It broke this level on, what day was that? I think it was this day. It broke below. I had like a stop at like 385, and it really just shook me out. And then, of course, the next following day, it did this really strong reversal, which it happens. I'm not perfect. I'm human, whatever. I think this initially could potentially hold here. I want to be a little bit more, I want to say lenient. I'm just going to kind of watch. I'm going to watch this maybe and really see how this plays out towards the end of the year. I think we could get it, depending on how the virus and everything is taken, we could get it potentially run up into this. I'm really looking for a potential run up to around 420, maybe getting a failure and maybe coming back down. This one is kind of like the NIO kind of situation where it's just like, it's in a weird range. I don't really want to, I don't know where it could go. And I just have so many other potential setups I would rather put money and cash into rather than this, if that makes sense. We did PLTR about 3 times already. IDX. What is that? IDEX. Is this one of those, like, yeah, I think it's okay. Yeah, penny stock ran up multiple times. Like we have these, like this double top around that $4 range. Again, this is something that could be very aggressive. We are seeing the 5 and 8 moving averages really aggressively point down. We can see that cross over here, potentially come back down to the 34 EMA, which is around $1.70, even down to $1.56, and maybe get a bounce off of that, excuse me, and break back to $2. But again, this stock is going to be so heavily FOMO'd and like day traded. It's just not my kind of cup of tea. Wait, you're human? I thought you were a boomer. Alan, you're the one who likes the French curled donuts. So that's a boomer donut right there, dude. Kodak. Oh, I had one option in Kodak because I saw some weird options activity being played, and I got this little bump up here. Crazy. So lucky. Very lucky day. Had like a 50 cents option that went all the way to like $5. Very lucky. I just bought it on a whim. NNDM we covered multiple times, looking at some initial support around $6. If $6 does not hold, 550 to 537, I think it was, could be going to the downside. But if that $6 does hold, we could see potentially a run up to $7 plus, potentially testing $8. Yeah, guys. On that note, I want to thank everyone. Let's look at the overall. Let's look at the Nasdaq here first. Futures, we're still kind of holding steady here, about 50 points higher here, and looking for some consolidation here. Again, we have some really good news potentially coming out with the vaccines being shipped and all kinds of stuff and so forth. But I want to be getting too far ahead of yourself with all that really fantastic stuff going forth. But really looking for some nice stuff to happen. I'm looking more on the optimistic side of potentially going and staying longer with the bullish market rather than just being more bearish. Really, some bearish terms we're going to be looking at as we start seeing break below that 21 EMA and going for it there. No. That's a man with taste. I love you, Alan. Thank you, my friend. UAC says, happy birthday. Apple, call December. Is it too early? That's going to be a little bit too of a early time frame. That's the funny thing is no one has talked about Apple. I love Apple, honestly. I love eating apples, which is healthy, keeps the doctor away. But that $124.40 has been pretty much a wall of resistance here, but we're looking for potentially to break higher here with that momentum and really take us to that $130 level. I think that Apple could happen. I don't know if it's gonna happen by the end of this year. I think it could potentially if the overall market really carries us to that level. I think that would be fantastic. For that. NIO is a 50-50 call. Like it can go to $50 or it can go to $35. Like I have no idea where it can go. It's going to be heavily tied to the government though. We just did NNDM, Adam. Look, I'll do it for you. Please don't stop, Pam. With that, as I said, if $6 to $5.75 does not hold, we could be looking for $5.32 to $4.75. To the upside, if this does hold, we get a strong bounce here and the 5 and 8 moving averages stay above the 21 EMA, we're going to be looking for targets above $7, potentially test that $8 range there. Can use my wife is watching you with me and we use CV. Okay, let's see here. I said I was going to go to bed here. The CVTA. It's not loading for me. CVTA? CVTA. Is that right? Why is this not loading for me? Is it a different stock? It's not loading for me. FedEx, FDX. Yeah, FedEx might get a nice bump tomorrow due to the really good news that it has moving the vaccine around and having all the databases and cooling systems in place to help do that. Really with some initial support around 280 to 285. If we get a bounce there, the next sided target is around 305 with some stronger movement around $323. CTVA. Okay. I see. Interesting. That's a good looking chart, my friend. Yeah, really short-term support coming around 37.55 with some longer dated stuff going forth. I like it. Let me look at some fibs here. Yeah, with some potentially hitting again, breaking above its previous high. Some targets. Number one is going to be around $44.59, and then excuse me, longer dated targets could be around $51. So yeah, I have no idea what this company does, but this looks like a very interesting stock, to say the least. Johnny, can we look at bed? Is that a you want me to go to bed? Is that what you're saying? I don't know why Thinkorswim's not loading this stuff, guys. I'm sorry. I'm not loading for me. Yeah, that's weird. VR. Why is this ticker VRYYF? I've heard of this one before. Yeah, very good foods. Yeah, I think David S, or one of the Davids, has talked about this one quite a bit, and I have just been I'm so slow. Like I really need I need help. I'm so slow here. That 5 and 8 moving average is so aggressive. This is a beautiful looking chart, my friend. Initially, kind of slowing down here a little bit. It can come all the way back down to around 530, and that trend will still be intact. But this is a beautiful looking chart there. I know, Johnny. As soon as you said that, I sensed that through the text. Christopher, thank you, my friend. I appreciate it as always. Johnny, Christopher, thank you so much for being members within the YouTube channel. I really do appreciate that. Okay, Beats, I'm going to be doing so between Johnny, okay, Beats, and Christopher. Are you guys looking at when I post things on the members only tab on YouTube? Are you able to see those and get notifications? Like, I feel like those sometimes just not get pushed out in time. I like Beyond Meat. I don't like Beyond Meat's. It had that horrible quarter, but now it's kind of been bouncing here. Really tight consolidation here around that 139 to 140 range, but I don't know. I got a hard time getting onto this boat here. I can see it popping higher and getting back up to 150, but I'm a little bit hesitant to jump on the board on this. Let's just end with the last one on Disney, and then I'm going to call it a night, folks. Oh, you look at them? I have a couple good calls every once in a while. I need to share more. Like I need to share if I share all my trade ideas, I'm very afraid that people will be feeling overwhelmed, Johnny. Any chances you could do a review of my technical setup and toss? Like do like a Zoom call and then we can just share I can share my thoughts with your setup on toss and share maybe some pros and cons. That'd be interesting. Yeah, Disney. So let me finish Disney and then we think about that thought and write that down, Johnny. Looking for initial again, broke that 173, looking for the nearsighted target above $200 in the longer run. I'm not saying that's going to be $200 today, tomorrow, or next week, but anything can happen. But this was a very large deviation move. Normally, once we get a large move up, we kind of trade sideways. We could potentially come back to 170, even down to 165, and still be fine. We can come all the way down through the movement to back down to 150, 153, and everything will be still a-okay. All right, folks, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again. We've been streaming for well over 2 hours now. My throat is completely dry. The Sandman's coming and putting me to sleep. I need to jump in the shower, get clean, and get ready for a wonderful call with some coworkers very early on in the morning for my day job. And then, of course, be looking at the charts all day and having some fun trading and investing in stocks. All right, guys, thank you so much again. if you're interested on check out the Discord, we got links down below. And as well, if you want to support the channel, we got the Patreon page if you're so interested and inclined in that. But again, guys, thank you so much for coming by, and really giving all the love out here. And I sorry if I didn't get to your stock or so forth. I try my very best on trying to cover all the stocks that are, especially when we have 300 plus people, it's very difficult. So I do apologize on that matter. All right, guys. Thank you guys. Good night and happy trading next week. And I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.